All right, what is going on, everyone, and welcome back to another Black Desert video. So we are going to be revisiting one of our very popular video guides that I've made before, and the best places to grind for XP, silver, and all that stuff. We'll break that into a few different videos, but today what I wanted to talk about was for XP, and the reasoning why is because currently we have an XP bonus on NA and EU. I'm not sure about the other servers, but so a lot of people are probably wondering, where should I go to level up? And they also made a few grind spot changes over the past few months, and especially today. So that's what I wanted to talk about. And the last time I made this video was probably about 6 months ago, and a lot has changed, and I thought it would be a good idea to revisit this. So the way we're going to be doing this is we are going to be sorting it by AP zone. So that way, whether you're a beginner or you're an endgame player, I'll give you my thoughts and opinions for all of this. And just keep in mind that I have grinded basically every spot in the game. I actually have a playlist in the description of where I do hours of each spot. So if you want to see like the rotation, how I do everything, there's a playlist you can watch whatever spot you want, and it's still ongoing for 2023 and going forward. So just keep that in mind. I do have the gear for basically everything, and I'll give you my thoughts and opinions of it. So we could sort by gear, and I'm gonna start with probably around like the 150-ish area, because here's where I think when you're a beginner, getting to Pen to Vala is roughly around 230 to 40 AP. But with that said, a lot of these spots are kind of irrelevant, and I'll tell you where to go about and just highlight some interesting stuff. So, Desert Naga in Tidium Valley, which is in Valencia. These spots are pretty decent for XP. They were good back in the day. They're just okay now. But if you're going for various XP and various artifacts and everything, I think these are okay. But from the 100 area, I think most people will blow past 100 AP and get to like 200 really easily nowadays, just on seasonal servers and everything. So for the most part, a lot of these are going to be irrelevant until you get to like 150 and up. And then keep in mind, we're only talking about for like XP and notable stuff. In the future videos, we're talking about the best places for silver, rare drops, and everything. So just keep that in mind as we're breaking it into parts. Okay, so with that said, down here, Polly's Forest is actually probably one of the best areas for XP as a newer player. It gives a lot of combat XP, and you have seen it in my videos for new seasonals. You can go all the way up to like 60, 61 without problems. And then after that, there's a lot of skill XP, which they changed over the past year or so. And back, remember when you actually needed a lot of skill points to get everything? They made the change for all classes, and you need roughly around like 1250 to maybe 1300 nowadays to get all the relevant skills. And then if you want to max out like your weight and everything, you go past 2000. But all the relevant skills you could get with under like 1300. So just keep that in mind. Its skill points are less relevant now compared to how they were before. So that's what I wanted to keep in mind. So as a new player and a seasonal character, Polly's Force is very solid. And I think most people will get to like 60, 61 here. All right, so there's a lot of spots that I think are, good, but for different reasons and not so much for XP. But that's what I wanted to talk about today. Shuriken during the daytime is a solid spot, in my opinion. This is a good spot for a lot of reasons. One, for infinite potions, XP. This silver is not too bad, but I think you do have to use Agris here, which is, something that is limited by day. But I remember grinding here for my infinite potion pieces, which are these two items right here, the Dragon Fang and the Shuriken Panacea. And there's a lot of different rotations that you can go here, and for like a 210 area, the silver is decent, XP is decent, you get a rare drop as well, so I think this one is a solid place to be. And yeah, going down up into the Sakraya area, I believe that this spot is very solid for people within the 200, and you don't really need 230, but when it shows you like 230 plus, that's how you do it efficiently. Like, yeah, you could go in here with 180, 200 AP and kill them, then that's fine. But being able to kill them efficiently and make the most out of your hour, generally 230 plus is a good recommendation. I would probably recommend, yeah, starting around there as well. A lot of these other spots that I can see right here, like centaurs, these are just more for money and everything, but we'll talk about that later. Going into the 240 Brigadi and Altar Imps, these spots are entry level Elvia, and you kind of do various Elvia things for very specific items, like the shards, like the Tearful Knight, Furious, and what's the other one, Drained Knight, and those are for the cups and like the things you put on your accessories to make them like have extra stats. So if you're planning on going in here as a 240 AP, I think you'll be able to do it. I do think that Elvia in general is a little bit tougher in terms of like the gear score not gear score, but like AP recommendation. So it's one of those things that I'd probably recommend being up into 250s for the most part before going in, but like I don't think you'll have any trouble. So if you want to go entry Elvia, these are very solid spots. Miramok Ruins. This one is arguably one of the top places for a mid-level grinder. And Miramok is a place where people actually can do it solo or in large groups. So that's why when you're down into Common Sylvia area, you see people like AFKing in trees. That's why they're getting power leveled. I've done it too. I've also power leveled other people. And this is a very fast one, especially if you're on the 1000% XP bonus. And I think that is one of those things where if you're going from like 1 to 61, it happens in maybe probably 3 hours, maybe less, depending on how many buffs you have running. So yeah, if you have a friend or guildie that can power level you here, this is a very solid spot. And if you are solo grinding at 61, I think that's from 61 to 62, that's like less than 10 hours solo grinding it, but actually no. Yeah, it is less than 10, maybe depending on how many buffs you have. But like 62 to 63, you're getting like 1 to 5% an hour depending on your buffs. So I would put this in a top 5 of highest XP an hour, and I think that's very solid. So Renaros and Monshums, these aren't the highest, but these are pretty solid XP grind spots, and they also give pieces of the infinite potion if you are grinding them out yourself. So the tranquil item, and then the full pity piece, or this is the pity one, this is the full piece, and probably about like maybe 1% an hour if you are 61 pushing 62, and then after that it drops off a little bit, but it's not terrible. But you'd be grinding here for infinite potion pieces and stuff. Silver an hour is also pretty good. Monchum Forest is a very easy rotation. It's a big circle, and you also go for I think these are like, if you're a magic character, this is a very solid spot for the artifacts, and then you also go for the infinite mana potion pity pieces as well. So I think it's very solid to do. Castle Ruins Elvia. This is a party of 3 spot. I remember grinding here maybe 2 years ago. Admittedly, I have less than 10 hours here, but when I was doing it, I was like level 62 and the XP was solid. But the hardest part about this spot would be probably you finding a party of 3, you plus 2 others, and grinding for more than 1 hour. Thornwood Forest. I think this one is, it's okay for XP, but you get a lot of other stuff as well. This is one of the best spots for Spectre's energies if you are going for it. Spectre's energies are for like mid to end game players who are trying to build black stars, and the XP is good, silver is pretty decent, and the rate of ominous rings is, you know, I think it's pretty solid overall, so that's good. Kratuga Ancient Ruins. This one is actually a very good overall spot in my opinion. One for silver, which actually the place got nerfed a while ago because it was a little too good. People were making like over 2 billion silver an hour for a 250 zone, and they had to tone that down a little bit. But I think this is overall still pretty solid for XP, and we'll talk about this in another video, but you know, like, you could get still a decent amount of silver here. And if you're going for any particular artifact, I did the calculation, and it's probably best to grind here instead of targeting a specific spot, because this one has a higher rate of artifacts versus, I don't know, let's say you're targeting the magic AP at Ronaros or something. I've done probably 100 hours at Ronaros over the years, and I've gotten less magic AP artifacts there than I did in Kratuga in like 20 hours. So just keep that in mind. It's all RNG, but the pool and drop rate is a lot higher here. So I think overall, you'll be able to target the one you want faster in Kratuga. Sakria Underwater, going into the 260 zone, is a very solid spot for XP. The hardest part about grinding this area is getting into the area. So you basically, to show you, Sakria is over here, then you dive underwater. So let me tell you how to do this without a boat. So if you are in Velia, you would get your traveler's comp or traveler's map, and then teleport yourself to Ilia Island and run from Ilia Island down, or just like do a straight line and then go from like all the way over here, and then start swimming into the water a little bit around here, and then the, you know, like on the map it'll be like you are here in an affiliated node, and then it'll change to like Sakria, and then you escape into the area, and then it'll put you into the upper area, and then you just go to the bottom yourself. Yeah, it's a few steps, but you know, that spot is what it is. One of the reasons a few years ago that I actually got the compass was to help other people get into spots that, you know, is kind of out of the way. So if you ever see me in game or just whisper me and my compass is not on cooldown, I'm happy to help people go from point A to B, wherever they want to go. I mostly wanted the title for myself, and I've gotten it. So whenever people ask me, which is not often, so if you need a compass somewhere, just let me know and I'll bring you there. It's not a big deal. Happy to help other people, and that's what it's for. All right, so next we were on Sakria Underwater. Very good spot, pretty decent silver as well. And the only hardest part about this is getting there. Sonal Camp actually got buffed over the time. I think the XP is okay, but it's more for like a money thing, and that place has gotten buffed, nerfed, and buffed again. It's over the past like a year and a half, so it's okay, but for a 270 area, this is one of your lowest choices. Gyfin Upper. This place is amazing. One of the hardest things about it is getting a group of 5, well 4 plus you, and grinding here. The silver it's decent, but I think the hardest part is you getting a full party and doing it. But over the past like maybe 4 years, or whenever this came out, this place has been tweaked so many times. They even removed all the mobs from one area and put them into a new area. So it's like the entire rotation shifted. But right now, as of when I'm recording this is a very solid spot, Upper Gyfin. And so is Lower, but we'll talk about that in a minute. So yeah, back in the day, used to be weird. Now it's good. And here we are. Jade Starlight Forest. I think this one is actually not that bad. Like, there's multiple reasons why you're going to be in this Jade Starlight Forest, mostly to get your embers into flame, to get your Labresca helmet. And so once we get into the 280 area, a lot of nice spots open up for endgame players. I would consider an endgame player roughly around a 270 area. I know, like, I guess people have their different opinions, but like once you can grind more of the late game spots and you know what you're doing, I would say roughly this is a decent spot, 280 plus. So yeah, this is a solid spot. Bloody Monastery, it's also pretty good. It does not compete with Orc Camp. These are Elvia spots, which are the higher end areas. So I would say Orc Camp is very solid. I remember getting from 61 to 63 here, and then I think I even pushed 64 here as well. So if you are full buffed, you're making a few percent an hour, I guess, depending on what your level and buffs are, but you could probably make between like 1 to 3% an hour, which is very solid. And yeah, you probably get a lot of the red shards or the Furious Knight ones, and I think I actually have, yeah, like 700 extra ones compared to the other ones which I used up. So I did put a lot of hours into Orc Camp, and yeah, I think it's a very solid spot. Probably in the top 5 in my opinion. All right, let's see. Bloody Monastery, you kind of go there for different reasons. Like, the silver is decent as well. XP, it's not as much as Orc Camp, but the spot isn't as contested, and then you can get maybe like 1%, maybe a little bit less an hour, which is still pretty decent. But the reason why you're here is for the Drayden Knight shards, the Moonsplit Nail, which you turn into the Lunar Necklace, which is the accuracy accessory, and of course the Crimson Bells, which is like the wave defense thingy, or like the Dynasty Warriors as people call it. And then you just fight things, get more loot. So it's more of a money spot, but the XP isn't bad here either. Primal Giants. This place actually got buffed recently. I don't have much experience here. I've done maybe less than 10 hours here total, but I think it might be okay. I think the place got buffed. I'm not sure if it was for money or they just made it easier, but I remember going here and it wasn't too bad. For a 290 area, though, I probably would still stay at Oryx or literally any other spot that I talked about. All these places are for silver. Gyfin Underground for the 300 AP area. This is arguably the best spot for XP in the game. And admittedly, you will have to have some gear to enter here. But realistically, I've seen people with like 280 come in here just fine and can clear efficiently. This place is more of a mechanics thing more than just DPS checking. And so the way it works is there are 3 colors: blue, purple, and red. You will get like a buff in your buff bar that tells you like what color you do more damage to, and then you kill the statue with that color, and then you just like, do you know your 3 colors, and then kill the one with the same color. But yeah, this is a very solid spot for XP in my opinion. And if you are trying to push 66 all the way and even going forward, this is actually number 1 in my opinion. It does require gear, but yeah. Everything else here is, these are all spots that you would grind for various items. I have a lot of hours in Darkseekers. I also have a lot of hours in City of the Dead. I actually recently finished up my flame and I'm working on my second artifact. So I probably have about 60 hours in Darkseekers and I am burnt out of that. City of the Dead and Tungrad are for the telescope pieces, and they're not good XP. Anything in the Ulakita area, you're going there for a purpose, not for XP. Let's see. Admittedly, I've never grinded the Dekia Turos is what they call it. Even in the normal one, getting another person to grind with you for turbo belts, I'm not even sure if it's worth it. If it is, let me know, but I just don't have it. Olins, you're there for anything but XP. This is probably like the worst XP in the game, Olins, but it is very solid for everything else. Thornwood is a very high silver an hour spot, and I think it might be actually highest for silver, but not XP. But we'll talk about that in another video. Ash Forest is just kind of scary. Like, you just shouldn't be here. For most people just shouldn't be here. There are other things to do. Cyclops, Quint Hill, everything else. You're there for a purpose. These are not silver spots. I might actually do a video of crypto resting thoughts soon, and I just wanted to revisit the spot because I also am going to go for Deboreka belts in the future. So I guess it's time to do it. But anyway, I guess as a recap, let's go over things by the region now that we looked at everything through high or lowest to highest AP. Let me just go over everything in the regions and tell you just very quickly as a recap. Sakarya Upper, good. Sakarya Under, very good. Orc Camp in Serendia is very good. Bloody Monastery is a highlight. Calpheon. I don't think anything is super notable in the Calpheon area for XP. Madaya, we have Katuga Ancient Ruins is very solid. A lot of these other spots are good, but like these are for very low level players and just, you know, people who are just trying to push level 60 in general. And even then there are better spots, but like if you don't have everything uncovered on a map where you don't have Kama Sylvia, these are also solid. Soldier's Grave is a pretty decent spot because it's near town. I think that's what they call it. Soldier's Grave, Soldier Cemetery. It is right here. This is a very solid spot to get yourself to like 58. And as a new player, this is a good spot. The reasoning why is it's right near town and Heidel. So if you don't have like a lot of weight or inventory, you can always just bring yourself back to town very easily. Compared to like other spots where you're just out of the way grinding and you kind of have to be prepared. So I think that's a decent spot. Valencia, a lot of these spots are good for lower level players as well. Some of these are more for money, and obviously like History and Akhman, you're there for the compass piece, which takes a long time. So yeah, we'll talk about various other spots in other videos, so just watch those later. Kama Sylvia, where is it? Polly's is very good. Miramach, very good. Top 5 in general. Gyfin Upper and Gyfin Lower, very solid. Kama Sylvia is actually, in my opinion, one of the best regions for a lot of things. For silver, for XP, for, you know, like infinite potion pieces. So for all of you, as a quick tip, you know the guaranteed pen accessory from Jatinas that you can do? I actually chose the Narc Earring because this one gives extra damage to Kama Sylvians, and because Kama Sylvia just has a lot of decent grind spots, I think this is a very solid option for a mid to end game player. But the Crescent Ring is also a very solid one. But if you're trying to min-max and everything, the Earring is definitely a good one to go for as well. So that's what I chose. And yeah, so Kama Sylvia, very good. Drigan, Shuriken during the daytime is good. Nighttime is a different mechanic entirely, and we'll talk about that another time. Odalita, Thornwood is decent, and everything else is you're grinding for like an item, not XP. Mountain of Eternal Winter, I think Jade Starlight Forest is okay. Murak's Labyrinth got tweaked a few times, and it used to be decent. You kind of have to know some mechanics, and then I think they like nerfed it recently. I talked to someone, and whether it's good or not, I have no idea, but maybe I'll try it again one day. And Ulakita, you're here for treasure items and or endgame items like the artifact and the Ator shoes. So anything in the Ulakita area, you're not here for XP at all. You're here for rare items. So with that said, that's my opinion on the best spots for XP, and hopefully you guys enjoyed it. stick around for the upcoming videos. We'll be doing the best spots for silver, which I think is a highlight one that a lot of people will like, and best places for Agris, and yeah, I think that's it. So with that said, if you are new to the channel, hit that subscribe button. Would love to see you guys come back. If you're new to the channel, welcome. I hope you guys find some videos that you think will be entertaining or informative. I make videos for new players, returning players, and people who are just looking to get better at this game. I've been playing BDO since the beta, and I just have a lot of knowledge that I would love to share with all of you guys, simply because there's a lot of things that aren't really intuitive in this game, and I just think it would be helpful. So yeah, back in the day, I didn't have guides to help me. I just kind of had to figure it out, and that's why I make these videos, so I can help you guys learn some random things you probably didn't know either. So yeah, I'm out for today. I'll see you guys tomorrow. Peace.